Dr. Thomas Powell made an amazing point. When it comes to a great leader or a lousy one, what makes the difference? Behind good leaders, people walk, and behind terrible leaders, people only talk.
Life is definitely going to happen, but when it happens, what is your fallback position?
What kind of leader am I? What kind of leader are you? Because at the end of the day, they can be respectful in your face, but they can ignore what you've been asking them, right? So what is it that you need to do? What is it that I need to do to make sure my member staff, teammates, as helpful and as hardworking when I am around? Okay, so the worst kind of leaders are the ones that are not happy with the outcomes when they're not around. So if you're not happy with the outcomes and the results when you're not around, there's something you're not doing right.
I want to briefly say those are very good skills and soft skills that are very important in a very inclusive workplace, but there are other complex issues such as personality traits and their personality styles, and also their motives as they come into your business that can complicate the path, and that would require you to use strategies that are really more about getting them to understand how important they are as game changers and providers of the services that you give.
Number one, you are not respectful to your member staff and your teammates the way you should be. If you're not respecting them, they won't respect your customers. If you are nice to them, they will be nice to your customers. The way it's supposed to be. So be really careful with the message you're putting in their head. If it's full of hatred, if it's full of ignorance, they will give hatred and ignorance to your customers. If it's full of love and understanding, they will give love and understanding to your customers.
Hi, and thank you for checking out this short clip from Obehi Podcast. I'm Obehi Ewanfoh, the host of the Obehi Podcast. This short clip was created from a full episode where we dive deep into this conversation. To see the entire video, all you need to do is to click on the link in the description of this video. Now, while you are there, I want to share something with you quickly. Are you a purpose-driven entrepreneur? Do you want to cut across the noise and attract the right audience, leveraging the power of storytelling? Now pay attention. I'm currently working on a signature program to help you own your story and stand out for the competition. It's a 5-step journey to help reshape your professional and business narrative so you can drive success and stand out in the competition. And in less than 90 days. The link is what you see on your screen, academy.aclasses.org/story. Now this is what we have understood. Storytelling is the most powerful instrument that is known to man. And this is what this could mean to you. You could either choose to own your story and leverage it to amplify your message and whatever you represent in this world, or some other person could own that story. The choice is yours. So why not take advantage of your story and use it wherever you are, whether you are in business environment or you are a professional individual who want to be able to build your influence and leave a legacy behind because you represent something. You are owning your story. You are somebody whose story is important. So the choice again is yours. Now let's get started with this short clip.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity. So I've been taking more notes than a university student, to be honest. This has been such an effective an hour and a half for me. Thank you guys for teaching me stuff. So Dr. Thomas Powell made an amazing point, and I know a good question when I see one, when I hear one, and this was an amazing question. So when it comes to a great leader or a lousy one, what makes the difference? Behind good leaders, people walk, and behind terrible leaders, people only talk. What kind of leader am I? What kind of leader are you? Because at the end of the day, they can be respectful in your face, but they can ignore what you've been asking them in your back. What should you do? Because you want a mini-me, just like Obehi mentioned, just like Annie mentioned. We want a mini-me in our absence. Because in your presence, everyone's respectful, everyone's working hard, right? So what is it that you need to do? What is it that I need to do to make sure my member staff, teammates, as helpful and as hardworking when I am around? Okay, so the worst kind of leaders are the ones that are not happy with the outcomes when they're not around. So if you're not happy with the outcomes and the results when you're not around, there's something you're not doing right. Number one, you are not respectful to your member staff and your teammates the way you should be. Okay, so sometimes we're not getting the results, we're not getting the best customers, or we're not providing the customers with the best service because we simply annoy our teammates. We are simply annoying our member staff. Of course, what do you think is going to happen later? They're going to transfer that feeling onto your customers. So ask yourself, what kind of feeling would you like your member staff to transfer to your customers? That feeling. If you're not respecting them, they won't respect your customers. If you are nice to them, they will be nice to your customers. Richard Branson is one of the major leaders in the UK industry. Should I say Virgin? Virgin is one of the most famous brands in the UK. TV and travel and credit cards and etc. etc. So Virgin is a major brand. So Richard says, take good care of your teammates and member staff, and they will take good care of your customers. So that's the first thing. And if you don't do this, let me be clear about this. If you don't do this, there's going to be a difference between what you want and what you get. That is my only concern. Otherwise, who cares? Do what you want. Treat them how you like. Remember, there are consequences. If how they perceive you, how they perceive your mission are different in your member staff's head, things can go wrong, right? Imagine a pilot setting the destination from America to Africa, right? 1 or maybe half a centimeter difference from America, the pilot in a different country. They're going to Africa, or maybe they're not going to Nigeria. They're going to, I don't know, another country, like they go to Egypt, or at least half of it is in Africa. So decide what you want in your member staff's head from the get-go, right? So if you get it half a centimeter wrong, what they will give your customers is either wrong or the way it's supposed to be. So be really careful with the message you're putting in their head. If it's full of hatred, if it's full of ignorance, they will give hatred and ignorance to your customers. If it's full of love and understanding, they will give love and understanding to your customers. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much for that. That is really lovely. That is really, really lovely. I appreciate that. Of course, I also have a lot of respect for Richard Branson. Thank you for making reference to that too. Yeah, this is so good. I really have nothing much to add to that other than we need to treat our teammate, the people that are working with us, as if it's really the true meaning of it, which is a team. We are all working together for the same mission. You need to be clear that we are in for it for good.
I want to briefly say those are very good skills and soft skills that are very important in a very inclusive workplace, but there are other complex issues such as personality traits and their personality styles, and also their motives as they come into your business, that can complicate the path, and that would require you to use strategies that are really more about getting them to understand how important they are as game changers and providers of the services that you give, and how they pen out and are seen and represent your business. So there are a lot of workers who feel valued and appreciated, but they just don't have the skills to promote your story. All right. I give an example. I have had experience in my own operation where persons come into your business and they say, Dr. Powell is very caring and she values and appreciates and she's very helpful and she includes just in decision making. However, this is just a stepping stone for me. And so the value that she places on our business, I cannot be forced to place that value because I just want to make money to go to college. And so they do not destroy the fact, they do not deny the fact that they are happy as workers in your organization. What they are saying is that your mission is not theirs. They are on a personal mission that at the intersection can become a barrier to your business because how they represent, because of their interpretation and the motives, may be slightly different from how you represent. So it doesn't follow all the time that because you give, you receive. What it is a complex interplay of motives, of meanings, of interpretations, and of representations and preferences, and also of intention.
All right, thank you so much for that. That added value is also very important. Thank you for checking out this video. Are you getting enough value from it? You see, this video was created for the purpose of adding value to you. So if this video make any sense to you, let me know in the comment section below. I'm interested in understanding what you take away from this video and if it makes sense to you, so we can provide more. But let's return to the video. It's not as simple as ABCD. Of course, all of us will understand. If we are in business, we know that it's a movie part. It's always a movie part. No? It's like an entire machine of itself. So everything needs to be working together for the same mission. So yeah.
Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to speak, and I'll try to keep it brief. I've enjoyed listening to everyone. I joined about 30 minutes into the meeting, but the bits I caught were very, very significant. Now, the topic, how to leverage the founder stories in your business. And I've just been going around in my head, which founder story am I going to share today? Because I have so many. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm a financial advisor, and I help people secure their financial peace of mind for those times that life throws its curveballs. Life is definitely going to happen, but when it happens, what is your fallback position? And how I came into the line of work that I do, when I relocated to UK, I worked in the banking sector back home in Nigeria, and I relocated with my family to UK, and I couldn't get a professional job. It was always, you don't have UK qualification, you don't have UK experience. And after a while, life became a bit hard, and I really needed to support my husband to put food on our table. So I got the easiest job that I could get, which was a care job. By nature, I'm a very care person. If somebody is crying beside me, I'll join the person to cry. If I'm watching a movie and they're crying, I will cry. That's the kind of person I am. So I took up that job to put food on my table, but I found out that I loved it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed making a difference in the lives of the people I took care of. And somewhere along the line, my husband had an insurance policy, and his advisor came over to the house one day to review his policy. And I was like, this sounds interesting. It sounds similar to what I do in Nigeria. And that's how I came into the financial sector in UK. Now, working in care, I saw people in different stages of ill health. But the one thing that happened to me that made me now start my business I worked with one lovely lady. She had motor neuron disease and gradually lost every ability to move. But the touching part of me there for me was her husband. When this whole thing started, they were not married. They were just partners. And because of his love for her, he really fought with the government to be able to marry her. I didn't realize that the ability to open your mouth and say, I do, actually made a huge difference. But because she couldn't speak, it was a battle for him. Eventually, he was able to marry her, and then he was able to get her powers of attorney because her daughter was not helpful. She was just wasting her mother's resources. Long story, that's how I got into my business, because I saw what not having financial protection in place could do to somebody vis-a-vis somebody who has it. The doctors gave this lady only 2.5 years thereabout to live, but because of the care her husband was able to get for her, he would fight the council, fight the hospital, fight anybody that got in his way. He was just not having it. And she lived for like 7 years. I worked with her for like 3 years, and it was an eye-opener. Now, one night in the dead of winter in January, it was really cold. I was beginning to have a bit of, my nose was funny. I hadn't had a cold. So I put a bit of eucalyptus oil and tissue to keep on my nose. And this man smelt it, and he went ballistic on me and sent me out of his house around 1 a.m. in January winter. So I called the office, and they said, well, if he says, I called the on-call number, and they said, well, if he says you should go home, then you should go home. So I sat in my car and I thought, nobody cared about what was going to happen to me. Nobody cared about how I was going to get home. That I was never going to put myself in that situation where I'll be completely at somebody else's mercy. So that's what now bettered me setting up my company, to help people make sure that when life happens, you have some financial protection. Some people will say, oh, money, the love of money is evil, blah, blah, blah. But the truth of the matter is that money makes things happen. If you do not have the money, the standard of life could be affected adversely. But I find people believe erroneously that, oh, it's not going to happen to me. It's going to happen to the next person. But we all know that life happens. COVID taught everybody that life happens.